simply EARGASMIC. This is the race engine that will be going in my Honda Civic from Hell project car. We will tell you the horsepower amount in a bit, but first let's take a step back and show you what happened when we arrived here at Van Kronenburg Engines a while ago, brought the parts, gave them a brief, and after that things escalated a bit. And this is the engine that we will be building. Probably from the title of this video you already know that it's a K24 that I have bought second-hand because I don't think you can buy them brand new. Originally I wanted to go for K20 because you can make more RPMs with it, but after having driven many Hondas, and especially after the two Civics that I have driven this year of James and Dan, and also Ben 2 years ago, I think, they had K24 in them, and the extra torque that you could make with a K24, you definitely feel it, and it feels like you really need it on all those uphill sections of the Nürburgring. And before I realized, you know what, 8,200 RPM is also enough. You don't need to run over 9,000. So yeah, extra torque. I hope it's still good inside. So we're gonna open up in a bit and see if it's good. But first, let's have a look at all the other fancy, shiny bits that we'll be putting inside and on the outside of the engine. As you might know, I bought the Civic with a K20 in it. And then after one lap, on my second lap, the engine said, I do not want to do this anymore, and it blew up. And this is basically why we are here. We are here today at KMS. Actually, we were at Van Kronenburg Engines, and KMS is a sister company of Van Kronenburg Engines, which stands for Kronenburg Management Systems. So where the Van Kronenburg Engines is busy with engine build and prep, and also selling, because they have a lot of engines. Anything and everything, from small Hondas, even 3 cylinders, up to V12s, and they even told me that somewhere they have a Pagani engine. Also lots of old F1 engines, it's insane. So basically, if the K24 dies, we'll definitely can find a replacement here. V12 swapped Civic. And then back to KMS, as the name suggests, management systems, you guys do ECUs, yep. ITBs, displays,
lambda controllers, EGT controllers, pretty much everything you need for your car.
Yeah, anything to need to give you competitive advantage really in depth. And as you might guess, KMS ITBs are going on my K24 engine. But give us a short overview, like, my God, first of all, here we have a whole system, not only ITBs, but a full plenum. Yeah. I guess it's a 964 or something?
Yeah, this is designed for the 964 or 930 series Porsches. Basically, we used to use the original 964 or RSR style housings. That became a Porsche heritage part. And they said, we're going to triple the price. So eventually we said, we'll make our own. But we made them with internal velocity stacks. So this intake performs better than an original Porsche intake. Wow. And this is the full kit as we designed it nowadays.
And when you look closely, you see the CNC pattern because you CNC all the parts in-house as well.
Pretty much, I think 90% of our catalog is made in-house. So all the throttle bodies get machined, assembled, and everything in-house here. We try to use as much stainless or aluminium parts as we can. We don't want any just steel bolts that can rust out. It's stainless or aluminium for us. That's it.
Nice. When we take a step back here, we have more ITBs, more controllers, as you mentioned, ECU, and the MA9 is going in my car, right? The most advanced ECU that can, well, basically control everything.
Yeah, that's the newest one in our range. That's been in development now for about 3 or 4 years. And yeah, currently we've got the ECU out in the field. You're one of the first that's going to be running it in a race series or something, or at least in a race car.
A race car, yeah. Yeah, and it's actually interesting because when I told the Honda community that Van Kronenburg / KMS is building the engine and KMS ECU will be running it, a lot of questions came like, oh, so you're not going to be running VTEC, but because your older ECUs were not supporting VTEC, but the new one does. So all the variable cam, valve, timing, you name it, it can do it, and probably many other functions that we'll not even be using, or maybe will we? Anti-lag, maybe in the future when we turbocharge it. Maybe we can have a quick look at one of the displays, if you have. So that's like 9-inch or no?
It's 7-inch.
7-inch.
Full color display with 16 programmable RPM, like limiter LEDs, and 16 programmable indicator LEDs. So you can, for water temperature or whatever, basically, any info that gets through the ECU, you can see it on the display itself.
Very nice, very nice. Well, I guess for that, you have to stay tuned because this is gonna go on my car. You'll see it in one of the upcoming videos once we will assemble the whole thing. And now, let's go back to the engine. First, next to me is Guus, who took apart my old engine and can tell me everything what went wrong. Was it me?
No.
Yes.
We don't think so.
So what actually happened?
I think you had a lot of oil starvation, or maybe no oil at all.
No oil at all. First of all, it's kind of sad that the previous owner didn't put oil in it. On the second thought, it's also on me for just assuming things, and you know what they say about assuming, and just going out on track and sending it. You may or may not know by now, when this video is out, is that the gearbox also had no oil. So I do kind of put it on the previous owner because me liking Hondas, I assume that you take good care of them. But maybe Hondas have too much of an image that the engine is completely indestructible, also without oil. Today we found out that it's not. So how bad is it?
Well, a bearing let go. This journal of the crankshaft is totally gone, as you can see. Little bearing is still a little bit attached to it.
We're doing a giveaway. The comment number 10 is gonna win this piece of bearing if you want. So I guess this is beyond fixing.
Yeah, that's done. So the crankshaft is done, the conrods are done, but also the cylinder walls is also in here.
Oh, yeah, it's not ideal.
Nope.
And now we're getting to a very exciting part of the video because this engine, of course, deserves all the fancy, shiny bits. A massive shout out to many partners for sending me all of this, all the internals that basically needed to be replaced on the old engine. They may or may not be fine on the current K24, but at this point, when we're doing stuff, we just want to do everything right. We do not want to have any coincidence that we have not replaced one single bolt or one component that then gonna fail, and then we blow up this very nice and powerful engine. So we do not leave any coincidence. So, should we do some unboxing and see what we have here? So we can start with this actually. Doesn't need to be much unboxing, but it's pretty cool. It's a magnesium valve cover, so very lightweight. I don't know how much lighter than the stock, but every gram counts, especially on a Civic. This will help us to get towards this nice 800 kilos maybe. Ooh. Well, below 900 should be doable. With the cage, we don't know, but we can dream. We can dream. It's good to have dreams. And then we go to the exhaust manifold that you will hear scream in a bit. It's a 4-2-1. So we have here.
These are the retainers.
Yeah.
What
retainers? Yeah, for the head. Not much to say.
Yeah, not much to say. Probably also a little bit lighter than
stock.
Maybe.
We have nice cams, 2 of them. One for the exhaust, one for the intake valves. This looks actually very nice.
Nice coating.
Yeah. Also, all the components have been cryogenically treated. So this means they become very, very cold, and therefore, after that, very, very strong in all the heavy-duty environment, kind of, more or less. And also, they have less friction. So it can be beneficial. More horsepower because less loss on the rotation.
Less loss of horsepower.
Yeah, less loss of a horsepower.
So winning horsepower, but less loss of horsepower.
I can give you a quick tip. If you're racing in some single class racing series where you're not allowed to modify the engines, so what can you do then? You can reduce the transmission losses, and some people cryogenically treat their gears and bearings because they have then less losses on the transmission. Because it's unmodified, you cannot see it, but it's treated that way. And if everyone has exactly 300 horsepower, but you have 301 on a long endurance race,
or more to the ground.
Yep.
You can have less losses in the drivetrain and more to the road.
So we have here, I think those are springs. Valve springs. Yep, there we go. Are those the valves? So intake and exhaust valves, but there is something special about them. Look at this, +1. And +1 means actually it's 1 millimeter oversized for the intake. Do you have experience with oversized valves? So does it actually like give more?
Yeah. It's like the difference between breathing to a straw and...
Good analogy, I like that. By now, we're like unpacking these things and you are also thinking of how the engine is going to be. What's your guesstimate of the horsepower that we're gonna have?
You're gonna do K24 now, right?
K24 with your ITBs, your ECU, all of this stuff, ported head.
That's a dangerous promise to make.
Will we go slightly over 300, you think?
I hope so. I hope so.
I think I'll be happy. So far, at the moment of making this video, the Civic from Hell video with over 1 million views, it had just 260 horsepower and he managed to do 720 with traffic. So I think more power, more aero. Would that be the first sub-7 Civic in the world on the ring? He's actually not skeptical. He's actually... All right, so those are the rods. What's the difference between H-beam, I-beam and all that stuff?
Back in the days they did a lot of more H-beam. I-beam came standard from factory a lot because it's less, they have to put less times in the machine to make it. But nowadays I-beams have come up and they're mostly you see I-beams used in the heavy horsepower engines.
Nice. By the way, in case you forgot what the channel's name is, I mean, I'm sure Dave from Skunk 2 put it all there just to know who you're shipping it to. Ah, these are nice. This is ceramic.
It's a coating. I don't know exactly what coating there is on.
Same size. We could have gone for bigger bore, bigger stroke. We had that option. But at this point, I mean, I'm not really chasing horsepower. I'm chasing sort of reliability. If the engine can survive a whole season of TF, track days and everything, and maybe a race here and there, I think I'm happy. But to push, because I know some people are horsepower chasers, they want X amount of this and that. For me, it's not that really important. Reliability, overall performance, durability, endurance, that's the main thing.
And what I always say is the more power, the more performance you get, the less lifespan you get out of.
Exactly,
generally.
exactly. And the good thing about Hondas is lightness is key. You don't need a lot of horsepower. We have here also some nice things from Acuity. We have a Hall effect, TPS upgrade, and also a calibration harness. We just need to see if we actually going to use it in combination with KMS ECU and actual harness. So we will see. And if this made it to this video, then we are using it, obviously. Moving on to the... oh yeah, I totally forgot about the main thing, but it's a crank. Look at that. Oh, you can do some workout.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It's quite heavy. It's definitely heavy, and it should be. Again, same size, just cryogenically treated. As you have seen in the intro of this video, oil starvation was a big issue. Now, in the old engine, we just had zero oil at all. But when you put engine on the track and you put more grip because of semi-slick tires or even aerodynamics, and you take the corner, the oil goes to one side and there's no oil for the pickup, unfortunately. To avoid that, we have, I mean, ideally you run dry sump, but I think it's a bit too much in this case. I think so. It will be too much, too complicated, although when I look at some things that we are doing to the car, nothing is too much anymore. But to make things kind of relatable, we have a massive Unit 2 fabrication oil sump for extra oil. You can put a lot in it. I don't know how much. The only thing what I can tell you is that Kai from TCT Performance is running it on his DC2 for many years on the Nürburgring. He didn't blow up his engine, so I'm sure it's going to be fine. It's aside from the extra volume, you have also baffle plates. This means that the oil will not go left and right that easily in the corners. And we have also upgraded oil pump. It might be from an S2000 because I think it's a normal upgrade from S2000 up to... I do not know the details. I went to them. I want the best to make sure that stuff does not go wrong. And send me the invoice. Like, here it is. And then here it's here. And now it's for you. And now it's your problem.
Thanks. Thanks.
Right. Moving on to some ancillaries. And this whole section is dedicated, or let's say thanks to T7 Design. And design is definitely feature in their name. It's actually a fact in the name, because when we're going to look at those components, you will see that they will definitely add to the sexiness under the bonnet of the car. But first we have also a couple of components that are not really made by them. So such as starting with external water pump. So how a water pump works, obviously your belt is spinning that. It needs to rotate and pump water, and this costs performance, which is, again, some people say you can gain up to 10 or 15 horsepower. Whether that's the case, don't know, but the fact is you will not be losing performance. Another good advantage of certain scenarios for electric water pump is that if it's a very cold day, you turn on the engine without turning on the water pump. And then you turn on the water pump so it will start cooling down. Alternatively, when you're done from a hot lap on a very hot day, you switch off the engine, but you let your water pump run, and it helps to cool down the engine. So we have Nürburgring water pump, something that made Lapo very excited. He said it's the best in the game, in the field. So we'll have to see where we're gonna mount it. The T7 design guys told me to put it somewhere that has the least vibrations as possible for all the obvious reasons. You guys have experience with those
It
things?
looks a lot like the BMW pumps.
This Civic is becoming very high tech. Oh, shiny, 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 shiny.
Parts are always good.
Yeah. To be able to mount this beautiful piece of machinery or engineering, the external water pump, we still need to close off the original location on the engine. What we have here is the alternator relocation kit.
Full kit. That's good.
It's a full kit
Yeah.
that will close off the plate, relocate the alternator, which is very important for your ITB kit, I think.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you cannot mount.
Yeah, the ITBs go straight out, and the alternator is also up high at a K20 and K24, so it's in the way of the ITBs.
I'm not going to open every single component, maybe, unless there's a fancy B-roll. But what I want to say is that everything is so nicely CNC machined
Anodized.
and anodized. And this is kind of matching to your ITB set, I think. Yeah, so going to be very homogeneous.
Man's jewelry.
Yeah. And also the belts. That's for you a nice how-to, how to mount it. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
This beautiful thing versus this whole
So I think
old
this
assembly.
should be the same as,
Yep,
see?
there we go. So instead of this lump, you're also saving weight. It's actually also weight reduction. And this, I would say, 7.5, 8 kilos, maybe. So that's good. Every gram counts. The big challenge with putting electric water pump and closing off the standard water channels is either a challenge or opportunity, is that you can get rid of your original heating system, because your heater runs also on your coolant hoses, because you need to warm up the car before your heater starts making heat. So since we'll be getting rid of that, we still need to have some sort of heat, especially if we're going to drive on a cold, rainy day on the Nürburgring. We want to defog the windshield. That's the main thing. This is why we have, from T7 Design, a ducted electric cabin heater. So that's going to be also quite nice. This looks like a CPU cooler for the PSU, the power supply. It's kind of similar at the end of the day. Yeah. Again, very nicely made CNC part. Everything's going to look so nice. Cannot wait to see it installed on the engine. We still have many more boxes to go. I'm gonna save this one for the last, probably. Alternator pulley for underdrive. K24 thermostatic oil sandwich plate. Again, many fittings. Every single bolt and screw are simply piece of art.
It's really nice quality.
So your oil filter goes onto here with the logo of T7 Design, and then you have the extra connectors fitting so you can run an oil cooler. Remote thermostat housing. That is for the water.
Normally the thermostat is against the head.
Yes.
So it's mounted on this side here. And now this replaces that. So this is the remote, okay.
Mm-hmm. With all the power comes responsibility. And we have extra powerful alternator to keep all the systems alive. Phenomenal from Wasp. I think that's it for all the internal and external components that will be in and on the engine, combined of course with ITBs from KMS and also their ECU. So now let's see how the assembly goes, and also of course how much power it's going to make. I'm wishing you lots of luck, Huus. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
One more thing, obviously all these parts need a home to be at. Well, we'll be using the new K24 block, but the head will be so-called Frankenstein, because we're putting the head from a K20, from the dead K20. But the head is not so dead. It has some things here and there, but you're gonna machine it anyway.
Yeah.
So what are the plans with that? Because we already mentioned we need to have it machined to put the bigger valve in it. Yeah. But what other magic are you planning on doing?
We're planning on doing a full CNC ported head. So
okay.
Yeah. So all the runners should be the same and breathe the same, and
so it's going to be like tip top
Yep,
and
best of the best.
nice. Basically, what I want to say, I said already at the beginning, of course, yes, the previous owner done some things or did not do, and at the end of the day, it's all on me for assuming things and just going along with it. But the main message I want to give to you, if you guys like me, who are like in their 30s, whatever, but you grew up with those Hondas, and you remember them brand new, and now they don't cost a lot like they didn't cost a lot back then, and you buy a Honda for 5,000 euros or less, or a bit more, or whatever. You cannot just go on a track with those cars because they are 30 years old. I'm also like 30 years old, and I cannot do things that I was able to do 10 years ago. And in the case of a car, it's maybe even worse. So nowadays, if you're buying an old car to make it a track car, reliability is a big thing, but also responsibility towards others. Because this was the best case scenario that the rod just blew up. Because if the rod would have gone through the block, and the oil went underneath, and the GT3 RS behind me would have blown up, well, crashed over my oil, I would not be standing here because I wouldn't have any money to build probably an engine. I'll be like, you know what, screw this. So just mentioning you the reality. You want to play with old cars, at the end of the day, it's probably going to be cheaper to save up money for a newer car, even though the new cars are definitely not as exciting as an old Honda. Fast forward a bit later and we have some updates to show to you. New parts, but also the semi-assembled engine. I mean, there is not much to say other than the fact that it's been assembled, but wait, I believe we mentioned to you last time that it was slightly damaged. That's why we went with Darton sleeves that you can see on the top. And the T7 design parts, the water pump removal has been already installed, as well as the Skunk 2 racing guide chain plate thing, CNC, very shiny and beautiful. But the most porntastic and eargasmic upgrade, and many horsepowers, is the head. On the outside doesn't look much, but as mentioned to you previously, we have oversized valves. So from Skunk 2 we have 1 millimeter plus oversized intake valves, so it can have much more air and mixture. It's so beautiful, as well as CNC ported intake over here, the full channels and also for the valves. At the beginning of the video I showed to you the Uni 2 Fab Bethel Sump extended extra big sized oil pan, and I said to you, you know, I do not want to go crazy immediately with dry sump. I went crazy with dry sump. So in this case we have AT Power integrated dry sump, and it's actually a very nice piece of kit, because if you are familiar with dry sump systems, usually you have externally mounted thingy, the propulsion, the band, forgot the word, too many languages because I've been speaking Dutch the whole day. External, but this one is internal, integrated, so you have much nicer packaging. So maybe we're gonna end up relocating the engine already now, because the engine will be finished much quicker than the chassis is, and therefore, while we're at it, might as well. But very nice assembly and unit from AT Power, rated up to 10,000 RPM, and beyond that you just do not have warranty. So if you want to run 11,000, go ahead, but we're gonna do only 8.5 anyway, so it's no big deal. Now, dry sump on itself is already quite a unique and next level upgrade, because it allows you to pretty much drive upside down if you would want to. There is one thing that still remains, so to say, negative on the dry sump, and that is the fact, because of the amount of pressure that it sucks the oil out into the tank to then put it back in again, it creates air, it creates bubbles. And air is a big problem because A, it is a conductor for temperature, so it becomes hotter, but also it's also a safety concern, because if like an air bubble we're gonna end up in your crankcase, you might end up spinning a bearing if the air bubble pops. It's an extreme case, but sometimes it happens. So here we have a very nice system called Spintric, and it's actually integrated system. So the Spintric, the system that's called Spintric, is actually inside the dry sump tank. What it does is passively, it filters out the air due to centrifugal and the high forces. It takes out the air. Around 70% of the air gets out already before it gets into the tank, and after that it will be pretty much filled. It's actually being used by military as well, so that's how effective it is. So more safety, but also more lower temperatures, much lower temperatures. Hughes, the gentleman you saw at the beginning of this video, you have to blame him, because on one of my previous visits that you haven't seen on cameras, when I dropped off here some other parts, when I dropped off the dry sump, actually, he told me like, oh, you know what? There's this company called Spintric, and I done my internship back there, and he explained me everything what it does. I'm like, we need to have that for the craziest Civic that's about to hit the track. All right, that's about it. I have to actually right now run to pick up the chassis to send it off to Ireland for the mold production of carbon fiber. So I hope I'm gonna make it, so I have to say goodbye. So I guess the next time that we will see this engine, and next shot for you, is when it's going to be probably already assembled on the dyno. And running and screaming. So fast forward. Yes. A while later, it's assembled, and you already done some dyno runs with it. Give me a couple of insights, peculiarities. Is there something we should be aware of, be excited about?
The vibration of the K series just headache.
Yeah? In a good way, in a bad way?
In a bad way. Make sure everything you mount on it, Loctite it, or just secure it really good, because normal engines like the other engines like the VWs that we do a lot, and the Porsches, they don't rattle as much as the K series. And the K series is known for it, for rattling, so that's the biggest headache till now.
So there's lots of, so it's going to be very emotional.
It is, yeah.
Car and engine.
You hear it in a minute when we run it, it's noise, it's singing, it's good.
Nice. So you've done the engine build and calibration, of course with your KMS ITBs on it. We see it's running dual injectors. Can you give us a bit more insight on what we're having here? Because you tested with different setups, different sizes of ITBs.
Yeah, what you see a lot on when you inject it further away, the way it goes with the air, it mixes, it's better for high RPM. So you win some more horsepower there. Closer to the port is most of the times better for lower or for idle. It runs smoother because you don't have that much length to go. This is all just, and it's only the few little horsepower. It's not like making going from 150 to 250, but it's the last few horsepower. And it's, you see it works. Nice, nice. Are you overall happy with how everything works and performs? Yeah, good. I'm happy, but I'm happy it's finished.
It's finished. It's been quite some time, and it has to do also with me, who give like, oh, should we change this? But also with you, like, oh, you're running dry sump. Oh, you should go to Gary and get a tank and get this. And I'm like, things escalated, but I think this is now the final piece. Yeah. Of course, a lot of things could have changed or done in a different way, and we could have, for more horsepower, it would have been possible. We don't know the horsepower number yet. It would have been possible to get more aggressive cam, but then we eliminate VTEC, which is actually good for the track.
Yeah. So, and you lose some torque and down low, and also the idle and everything.
Yeah. So it's possible if you want to do drag racing.
Yeah, and you can do it on the street, but you only drive the track, but you also drive it a little bit street, and then the idle and the startup and everything's going to be a hassle. So I think this is the best combination also for the torque down low, because you see later on the torque number is...
All right, well, I'm excited. All right, enough talking. Let's see what this baby makes. If you think that my engine is cool, I got something really cool for you. Skunk2 Racing, the company behind all the internals but also externals of my engine build, is offering you 10% discount. If you go on the website and use code Misha10, you get 10% off, and I get also a little kickback so I can spend more money on my Civic. So go on Skunk2 website and join the... Look at this, 312.95 or around 310 healthy horsepower. But more impressive is the torque curve. Flat, linear, You still saying that Honda's engines cannot make torque? This one can. But it's not really factory, of course. You know. It's almost stock, trust me, bro. And the throttle response. Yeah. So we've done one more run, and now it shows 314.5. And I'm sure it will show more. And if you put it on the dyno of your best friend's mate that has a dyno himself in the backyard, it's going to show maybe 350. At the end of the day, the most important thing is that we know the torque curve, we know what upgrades do what, because KMS has been doing lots of test and development work over the last weeks to see what setup works the best. And this is what we have. And we will be back later here once we have the engine installed, the ECU, the wiring and everything. And we're going to dyno it actually on their actual, well, the car dyno, not the engine dyno, to see actually what does what. And what is the final wheel horsepower? How many transmission losses do we have? At which temperature? And lunchtime. Speaking of lunchtime, it's been a very long video. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you are as excited as I am to see this baby run in a car on the Nürburgring and many other tracks as well. Once again, huge thank you to KMS and Van Kronenburg engines for fantastic work, but also everyone who has contributed to this build. Skunk 2, T7 design, AT power, and many others that we will tell you about in the upcoming videos once we start assembling it. Speaking of which, we should get this baby off the dyno and put it in the trunk of M5 Touring. So I guess we can clickbait. I put the K24 in my M5 Touring. Anyway, bad jokes, this means it's the end of the video.